Hello, I'm Brian from the Tube Clock Database, and today we have kind of a cool little Nixie clock preview. It's the Nixie Clock B5853V2 in wooden case. Let's begin with our standard size comparison. Here's a can of Diet Coke, and it becomes immediately obvious that this is actually a shockingly small device. Let's get this out of the shot, we don't need that anymore. It's actually one of the smallest 6-digit clocks that I reviewed. The smallest clock that I reviewed is actually this 1-digit Numitron clock, but that's actually not that much smaller than this entire device. Now, I want to talk about the build quality for a second, because that's, in my opinion, really the standout feature of this device. Let's pull that back here. This has a nice, hefty acrylic top. It looks to be almost ½ inch thick around. It looks like it's glued, but there's no bubbles or anything like that. The craftsmanship is actually really nice on here, and it actually has kind of an impressive weight. It doesn't feel cheap or like a toy in any way. Set that over here, and let's take a look at the wood enclosure itself. It's probably, one of the nicest wooden enclosures that I've ever seen. It looks very professionally done. I can't tell if it's a laser cut or not. It appears to be, because the holes here for the vents, I don't know if you can really see it in the shot, look dark, as if they were burned. We've got vents on the 3 sides here, and on the back, let's see if we can get that in the shot, we've got a cutout for the USB power, and then for the access for the 3 buttons in the back. But the clock itself is actually, when I first opened it up, I was absolutely amazed at, oops, can't, this glass is so clear I can't tell where the hole is. There we go. The build quality is actually really just amazing on this device. I mean, even to the bottom with the really nice, just metal enclosure blocking off the circuitry. I'm going to try and talk through the menu and the features of the clock. Now, as a minor disclaimer, the manual is written in Japanese, and so I had to use Google Translate. I think I've got everything figured out correctly, but if I find any mistakes, I will post a follow-up in the written review. Now, this device is powered by USB, which is actually kind of surprising that they can get enough current to power these 6 tubes and the 4 little neon bulbs as well off the 500 milliamps that my computer supplies. But it works, there's no question. We'll plug it in here, and we can see it does a nice count. We can use that to check the digits. You can actually disable this feature in the menu if you'd like. Now, you probably can't see it. In fact, I'm pretty sure you can't. In the middle of this middle hole here is a little infrared sensor. It ships actually with this remote control. It's malfunctioning at the moment, so I really can't test that feature. But you still can set everything via 3 little surface mount switches in the back. Now, I think I have average size hands for a guy. It's a little difficult for me to press the buttons, but it's not impossible. And via these 3 buttons in the back, we can do things like adjust the time, adjust the thermometer, and adjust the fading or the rolling effects. So let's zoom in a little bit closer and take another look. So I'm going to walk you through the menu structure as best I can. It's admittedly a little hard to illustrate with a clock this small, but I'll try and demonstrate the logic of the menu. There's 3 buttons. There's what we'll just call outermost, middle, and innermost buttons. And those are what we use to adjust all of the settings. So if we press the outermost button twice, we can adjust the hours. Now it's actually 1:39 here, so let's go ahead and adjust that. And let's press the menu button until we get out of here, and it starts displaying the time. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but what I'm not entirely sure why is we can adjust the hours in up and down, but when we get to minutes, adjust the tens and the units digit separately. I'm not entirely sure why that is. It's not a problem. It's just something that the first time you do it, it might get a little confusing. And if you notice, right now we're crossfading between the seconds. And so we've got a couple different effects. Right now, crossfade is what you see now. Flip causes it to kind of flicker, and rolling causes it to cycle through all of the digits. And I'd like the rolling effect, so we're going to enable that. We're going to press the menu button once, and these are our major menu options, and these map to the manual. And so we want to go to item number 5. Number 5 is the second effects according to the manual, and number 1 is crossfade. There's a couple different crossfade speeds, and we're going to choose number 9. So number 9 is actually what they, oops, apparently I pressed that button a few too many times. There we go. And now it's got the rolling effect, and you can see it kind of cycling through the digits as the time changes. So here's another shot of the edge of the clock here. We still have the rolling effect on. And I wanted to show it because it really kind of emphasizes the depth and the 3D nature of the Nixie tube. It's something that really can't achieve with pneumatrons or LEDs or any other kind of display technology. But just watching the digits bounce back and forth is just really kind of cool, and just really kind of unique to this display. This clock also has an ambient light sensor. It's built in here on the side, kind of towards the third hole, if you couldn't guess from my flashlight pointed at it. And I wanted to illustrate it in use. And so I have the flashlight pointing on it just to show maximum brightness. I'm going to put this metal case in front of it to make it completely dark. You can see that when I block off all the light, the display gets quite a bit dimmer. And when I let all the light in, it gets quite a bit brighter. And so in the middle of the day, the tubes will be at their full brightness, and at night they'll be quite a bit dimmer. And this has the bonus of prolonging the life of the tubes, as well as adding a nice little subtle effect that isn't immediately obvious. Now, I normally wouldn't spend a lot of time talking about the packaging, but in this case here, it warrants a little bit of discussion. Certainly the clock is nice, and you wouldn't want it to be damaged. And it came in this nice, actually, almost form-fitting black box. It came wrapped in this fine kind of paper, and it was actually packaged much like you'd expect a nice watch to be. It was very well packaged, and actually it fit perfectly in the box. I'm not going to go repackage it entirely for the review, but I just like the level of detail. And even, I don't know if we can get it in here, the packaging that the box came in, it was actually kind of almost, I don't want to say levitated in here. So it was sitting almost 3D. So when you look at it, the box was floating. It's actually kind of a cool effect. I mean, I imagine you can buy these boxes at a shipping supply store or something like that. It had the neat effect of, padding it by keeping it suspended between these pieces of plastic, but also giving it kind of a really neat professional look. I kind of wish I had my camera when I was unboxing it. This was actually kind of a pleasure to open. One last feature that I want to talk about is that it has a built-in thermometer. So at regular intervals, it can show the temperature in Celsius or Fahrenheit. There's a user-adjustable offset, so if it's off by a couple degrees, you can compensate for it. Now, what I really like about this clock, and kind of what I want to end the review on, is the market that it's going after. So there are clocks that are, really hackable, or kits that are DIY, or, just basic boards where you can kind of invent your own clock around them, and that's definitely not the market that this clock is going for. It's really going after for someone who just wants a really beautiful, well-engineered Nixie clock. And so you can tell, I mean, it's small, but the fact that, it uses nice tubes as opposed to, cheaper Russian tubes. The fact that it's got this really nice enclosure or this nice beveled edge, or, I mean, it's hard to think of another Nixie clock that has, this kind of quality of craftsmanship built into it. I mean, even like I said, it came in a nice little box and was suspended in the larger packaging, which made the unboxing kind of a treat. Now, I realize that, anyone could do this, but the fact that, that there's this level of attention to detail that I don't see in a lot of other clocks here, that really makes this guy stand out. Now, the catch is that this clock sells for about 44,800 yen, which, according to Nixie last night, was about, I think it was about $580 US. So it's not a cheap clock, but it doesn't look cheap and it doesn't feel cheap. It actually feels like a really nice, solid device. Now, like I said, I'm not able to test the remote. That function doesn't seem to be working on this, and I've been working with the inventor back and forth here, and I think that certainly sure that will be resolved. But overall, this is an impressive little gadget. I really like it. It's been a joy to play with and to review.